Hello everybody, welcome to our PowerPoint on gender. In this unit we'll be talking about gender roles, and human sexuality and how that impacts our schooling. So as we start our PowerPoint, I want you to just pause for a minute and think about these three questions. Why do we as a society provide gender roles to boys and girls really from the moment they're born? We dress our girls in pink and our boys in blue. The next question, where do we learn our gender roles? Where do we learn how our society expects males to act, expects females to act? And then finally, does the gender or sex of students play a role in teachers' expectations? What do you think? And why? Let's start with the basics. Sex is biologically determined. Chromosomes determine how one is born. Gender, on the other hand, is socially determined. Gender is what a society thinks males and females should be and how they should behave. So there are implications to what society thinks a boy or girl should do as far as schooling and careers. We sometimes take a double take when we see a woman in a traditionally male-dominated role, such as a firefighter or auto mechanic. However, I think there's still a much bigger stigma when we see a male in a female-dominated role, such as a beautician or a secretary. Even with stay-at-home dads, we sometimes think, I wonder if he lost his job. However, gender roles are becoming much more blurred. You all are part of the millennial generation. You're like no other generation. In the United States, you've grown up in the post-feminist era with women acknowledged as men's equals. The notion of women's lib may have no relevance to your world today other than a source of historical context. Millennials are not only digital natives, but they're all native to gender remapped society. Between 1997 and 2007, the number of women-owned businesses increased 44%, 2 times as fast as men-owned firms. 40 years ago, women owned 5% of small businesses. Now they own 30%. Post-industrial economies and the spread of technology have made the world of work gender neutral. Many jobs, especially high-paying ones, don't require physical strength or endurance anymore. There's just no intrinsic advantage to being male in the work world. Just 2 of the 15 job categories projected to grow most over the next decade are traditionally male-dominated jobs. But women are still paid about 77 cents to a man's dollar, and only 2.6% of Fortune 500 companies are led by a female CEO. However, millennials are less apt to perceive institutionalized sexism or believe barriers will keep them as individuals down. This is a chart from 2006 showing the percentage of male and female in each of the school programs. There are still male-dominated fields and female-dominated fields, as you can see here. And part of the teenage years and being in school and high school is just to try to fit in and be like everyone else. So students who do not fit the idea of what their peers think they should be and what they should do often have a hard time in school. We need to be the support for the student if he decides to go into a vocational school for the cosmetology certification, or if a girl decides to go take welding classes. There has been a big push to promote math and science careers to females. For example, to attract girls into an engineering program, one university established a steering group that included female role models, had classes at a new high-tech building with no grease in sight, had a publicity flyer which included pictures of 6 girls to every 1 boy, had an open evening engineering in the 21st century session, and explained to parents as well as the girls themselves the career possibilities. They took interest in the interested students to meet with course tutors and employers and challenge stereotypes of engineers. They ended up with more girls than they had room for. Since 1972, with the passing of Title IX, educational opportunities have just increased so much for girls. But now let's think about our boys. How are we educating our boys? About 40% of them are growing up without their biological fathers in the home. We need role models to show them what it is to be a man. In a 15-year span, there was a 71% increase in the number of boys who say they don't like school. Why would that be? Well, our schools today have a very rigid environment. There's less free play. Curriculum, expecting more out of the students, may not be developmentally appropriate for our boys. In some schools, there's less recess because of that focus on math and reading. But boys need physical activities, as do girls. But we really see that in the boys. As teaching strategies, we use a lot of cooperative learning, which I'm very much for cooperative learning. It's great for English language learners. But boys also thrive on competition, and we don't do that in our classes much anymore, which, again, you have to have that balance. But so think about the differences in boys and girls, and think about boys and what would motivate them. In our society today, what we used to think was, oh, that's just a boy. Today, parents are taking their boys to the doctor thinking there's something socially or behaviorally wrong with their child. In fact, 1 in 5 parents of boys have taken their sons to the doctor to talk about those kind of issues. The national graduation rate is around 75% for both sexes, but boys' graduation rate in every single state is less than girls. So more than 1 out of 4 boys will drop out of school. College campuses today are about 60% female, including 57% of the bachelor degrees are awarded to females. 61% of the master's degrees are earned by females. So think about, we've have all these opportunities for girls now, and we need those. We need those nights about math and science and that sort of thing. But I'm really concerned about the education that we are providing for our boys. So you can make the difference. Think about your future classroom. How are you going to educate all of your students? The first thing that you need to do is get to know them individually. What motivates them? What kind of environment do they work well in? And make sure that you're providing activities that reach all your students. Do you have different expectations for boys and girls? I would like to propose that your expectations be the same for everyone, but you need to realize how you get them there may be different. You need to structure, again, activities that both boys will be motivated by and girls, and so have that variety in your classroom, because we need to educate all of our children for the work world in the 21st century. Please continue to do your readings and all the activities that are part of this unit. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments or concern. This is a very, very interesting unit, and again, you're part of that millennial generation, so your ideas may be different than my ideas. So I'm looking forward to just getting to read some of your thoughts about this. Have a great rest of the day.